And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, live from the Heavy Hands casting couch. It is Heavy Hands Podcast, the Nitro Show edition. I am solo again today. It is Friday, January 15th, 2021. And for everyone that matters, you know exactly what that means. We are uno day away from the fucking UFC returning. Thank God. We've been off for 27 days now. I think the last show was December 19th in Las Vegas. That was supposed to be Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards, fell through. Regardless, we are in some severe need of some fight content. We did get the Ryan Garcia fight a few weeks ago, which was pretty good. But anyway, UFC's back tomorrow on ABC, so we'll talk about that a little bit more. I know I broke that down in the last Nitro show. I'm solo today. Hunter, the Shark Vaughn, came up positive and not for HIV. He does have COVID-19, so I am on quarantine, isolating myself in my basement studio. YouTube, /like, thumbs up, share, subscribe, please, Heavy Hands Podcast. Instagram, find us there, Heavy Hands Podcast. Facebook, Heavy Hands Podcast. And Twitter is actually Heavy Hands Kansas City. So please like, share, subscribe, follow us on those platforms. It would mean a lot. Holy crap. I'm so excited for this fight tomorrow. It's great that it's happening. I mean, normally I'd be upset because I'd probably be sleeping or doing things, but now that I'm on quarantine, I can't wait. I'm going to wake up at 10 a.m., have myself a cup of Joseph, and get my fight day started at about 11 a.m. Central Time. That is noon Eastern. Prelims, they're going to start on ESPN Plus, followed by the main card. You can still keep it on ESPN Plus, or you can go to regular TV, which everyone will be able to watch on ABC. Weigh-ins were this morning, 3 a.m. I'll be honest, I'm a sick fuck. Set my alarm, woke up, found out everyone made weight, so all the fights are a go. Hell yes, brother. What else? I finally finished the Manhunt Deadly Games last night. It's about the Atlantic City bomber, serial bomber. Oh my God, this poor Jared Jewell guy. Holy smokes. Richard Jewell. I don't know why I said Jared. Thinking about food and Subway. Richard Jewell, holy shit, this poor bastard. The real bomber was Eric Rudolph, and this whole first 7 episodes of it's a 10-episode series, and the whole time they try to frame this. I don't know if they think they're framing. I think they probably assume they have the right guy. They try to frame this poor bastard who lives with his mom. He's an obese cop. His name's Richard Jewell. He's a little bit of a weirdo, I'll be honest. I can see why they were leaning towards this guy to possibly be the Atlantic City bomber. But I won't ruin any more if you haven't seen this. We talked about this last time too. Came out February of last year, so I'm super late to the party. Oh my God, if you haven't seen this, though, you have to watch it. Manhunt Deadly Games on Netflix. Holy shit. Stayed up way past my bedtime finishing that. Only got an hour or two of sleep before I woke up to confirm that everyone made weight this morning. But highly recommend. So if you don't have anything to do or if you're also in quarantine, go check out the Deadly Games Manhunt on Netflix. Fucking phenomenal. It's sad, it's drama, it's exciting. There's some good action in there, too. It's a little bit of something for everybody. 2 gorillas tested positive at the San Diego Zoo for fucking COVID. I read the article, and they said that despite the San Diego zookeepers wearing masks, like, I'm sorry, but if you're wearing masks around a fucking gorilla, what the fuck has this world come to? I mean, I guess I can't blame them. I wouldn't think that you'd need to wear personal protective equipment around animals at the zoo. I think it could be fake news. I doubt these gorillas tested positive for COVID. I actually read that there's a possibility it's not COVID, but they had some congestion. So, interesting story. Very interesting story. I wonder so did they get it from humans? I assume. If they're saying that they wore the proper PPE, then I feel like these zookeepers are kind of getting out ahead of the idea that they maybe spread it to the gorilla, plural gorillas. So can that gorilla give it to other gorillas, and then can it give it to other humans? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a goddamn scientist, but it's super interesting. Who knows? Been hitting the gym hard. I'm sore. Got a little fat over quarantine. A little fat. I think they call it the COVID 20. I put on about the COVID 35. So trying to lose that off. I've been consistent. Now that I'm on quarantine, no alcohol, no candy. I've been chugging vitamin C, D, anything good for you. I've been taking handfuls of vitamins. I mean, I must have drank 3 gallons of water in the last day or so. I'm just overdoing it on everything. So I'm pretty scared. I won't lie. Hopefully I don't get COVID. If I do, it'll be all the sharks' fault. Probably time to get that vaccine. Now that it's offered to us first responders, we'll get the vaccine hopefully soon. I know a bunch of my buddies have gotten the vaccine. So we'll get the vaccine hopefully soon after this. You know, it's funny. Initially, they said if you had COVID, that means you had the antibodies for maybe 60 days and that you didn't need to get the vaccine. Now they're saying that they're voiding all of that, and now you just go get the vaccine. I wish I was smarter so I could read more literature on this. It's scary all around. I mean, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I think if you're going to go into any vaccination, you got to have some mild concerns. I'm not saying they're putting a microchip in you. Who fucking knows? But you never know. You never know. It's kind of an eye-opener when one of your close buddies gets the virus. Hope Hunter's doing well. He said he was feeling pretty down yesterday, but sleeping a lot, recovering. So best wishes to him. Yep, it is scary, especially when it happens to someone that's, like I said, kind of close to you. You hear about other people getting it, other young people, and you always think it can't happen to you. So, I don't know. I'm on day, what's today? Friday. He exposed me Monday on the Heavy Hands Jawbroke episode 2 podcast. Shout out. So, we're getting close to the full 10-day incubation period. I'm still feeling fine. No symptoms. I've had no symptoms at all. I'm still trying to hit it hard, work out, just on my own, doing what I can. So, yeah, hopefully we get through the next week and show no symptoms. It's weird, too, because you could be asymptomatic, right, and then not know that you're spreading it to other people. So maybe I don't have a bad reaction, but I'm asymptomatic and I spread it to someone else. So I'm just trying to be really careful. I know it seems like overkill if you don't have symptoms, but I'm just trying to be super careful. I don't want to be responsible for giving it to anyone else. Oh well, we'll get through this together. Better, we're stronger. You guys want to get to some MMA news? Usada updates the marijuana policy. Fucking finally. Holy fucking shit. How long have we been dealing with this? I mean, years. And not only have we been dealing with this from commissions, but we've been dealing with this marijuana anti-doping policy from commissions and from Usada. And it's just so stupid. Nick Diaz lost 4 years of his career for smoking marijuana. 4 years of his career. And it's not that you're just taking money away from him in fines. That's 4 years that he was out of the game. 4 years in his prime that he wasn't able to compete. Because he smoked marijuana. And, you know, I'm not saying that you should be high fighting. But as a professional athlete, all the benefits to marijuana, CBD, obviously I know CBD has been legal, but the fact that marijuana, I mean, these guys get hit in the head day-to-day basis. That's a lot of brain trauma that can cause a lot of depression, things of that nature, stuff we don't understand. And a drug like marijuana, especially as an analgesic, a painkiller, it's just so beneficial, and it's such a better option than Oxycontin and oxycodone and morphine and all this shit that they used to prescribe all the time. And now you want to try to take marijuana away from these guys that get out there and get bashed in the fucking head for your entertainment, and you want to take marijuana, a plant, away from them, but they can go drink themselves to death, but they can't smoke a plant when they get bashed in the head for your entertainment. That never made sense to me. I've heard a lot of hype. I think a lot of people are excited about this, but I see this as a rejoice. I'm surprised we're not throwing up balloons, shouting from the rooftops. This is a huge step for the fight game. Again, it's unfortunate that the commissions can still punish you for marijuana levels. But the fact that Usada, who's endorsed by the UFC and is going to have the UFC's backing, is no longer going to test. Well, I'm sorry, they might test, but they're no longer going to give you an anti-doping violation as long as they cannot prove that it was for performance enhancing, which I don't see a scenario, and I can't even give you an example of where they might come up with that marijuana was performance enhancing. As a fighter, I assume they're still going to tell you stay away from it fight day. I don't see any fighter realistically, unless you're one of the Diaz brothers or Crone Gracie, wanting to go into a fight high anyway. But I assume they'll still tell people stay safe, stay away from it on the day of. But it's nice that you don't have to have that headache of smoking out of camp anymore. Because I think I read you used to have to, like some people, especially chronic smokers, in order to get their nano levels down, I almost said nanobites. I don't know what it's nano something that they measure the levels in. And if your nanos were so high, that's when you would qualify for a violation. So if you were a chronic smoker and as a fat-soluble substance, THC would get stored in the fat. And so these chronic smokers who use THC, they'd have to stop smoking for weeks just to get those nano levels down, when really they could be using smoking in the highest intensity part of their training, which is the 1, 2, 3 weeks leading up to that fight where you're getting the most banged up bruises and you need to recover quick. Because you have to get the heavy sparring in, you have to get the heavy grappling in, and this is the time when you could use marijuana the most to recover or to relax, fight anxiety. I can't imagine what it's like to, obviously I fought on a regional show as an amateur. I don't know a goddamn thing, and my anxiety was through the roof. I can't imagine what it's like to be a fighter and they tell you, hey, you're going to fight this other guy who's been training his entire life to kill people. Oh, and by the way, you're going to do it in front of 15,000 fans at Madison Square Garden. All around, I just think that this was a huge, huge win for the MMA community. I guess it's not. Hopefully it I don't know what the testing's like over in Bellator 1FC, which we'll get to too today. I don't know what the testing's like over there, but for UFC, the highest level promotion, this is fucking fantastic. This is great. Another thing too is that if you get a marijuana violation, what are they using to test those levels? So they say that they use a urine analysis. So if you're using a urine analysis, you can't test how high that person was, just the fact that they have used marijuana. So that to me makes absolutely no sense. So you could test this guy, get a urine analysis, a UA on him, and then you determine that he was so high or too high for your levels and that's a violation. What if he's a chronic smoker and he didn't even smoke a week before the fight and now it's still in his urine because it's a fat fucking soluble substance, and now you've banned this guy when he's done nothing wrong? Because prior to January 1st, Usada did allow out-of-competition marijuana use. So, I don't know. I'm happy. I'm super happy for the guys. I think this is great. I think a lot of MMA fighters, they turn to alcohol quick, and we don't fucking need any of that shit. If these guys are willing to use marijuana over alcohol, I 100% see that being a very positive thing. This is great. I mean, it's almost, you wish you could do something for the guys like Nick Diaz who have had 4 years of their career just taken away from them for smoking a fucking plant. 4 years. You wish you could do something for him. I don't know. It's sad, but it's a joyful week too. The fact that they've eliminated that. It's, I don't know. I won't be too negative. I'm positive about the future, and I understand that it was the policy. If you want to be a fighter, you have to follow the policy. Do I personally think the policy was stupid? I do. But you have to follow the policies if you want to do the things that you want to do, which is fight in the UFC. And at the end of the day, you also have the argument that 4 fucking years for this. People do steroids and they don't get banned 4 years. So I don't know. I guess we'll just be positive and thankful that this is over now and that we don't have to worry about this. I don't like that they left it open-ended with unless we think that it's for performance enhancing. When you leave things open-ended like that, you leave it up for interpretation to USADA or the UFC. So you're leaving it up to someone else, not science, to determine how you used marijuana. I don't see it being problematic right now, but it makes me a little anxious. I would have liked to see it gone completely. Maybe something in the policy that said, hey, if we have a hint or if we have an inclination that possibly you're high on fight day, that might impair your ability to dodge punches, which could make you take more damage, which could make it so you get hurt. Then we're going to test you, and if you're positive, then we might violate you. That, to me, might be perfectly fine with me. I mean, I need to read some more material and how they're able to test. Maybe a blood test to see if they're actually high at that time. But as far as banning guys for using marijuana anytime prior to fight day, or even weigh-in day, I could see weigh-in day if you got a guy cutting a lot of weight. I'm not saying there's any science to support that getting high on weigh-in day can affect you or your health, but I could understand where the commission would be coming from. It is a substance. There's not very many studies on it. Excuse me. So, anyway, speaking of marijuana, Nate Diaz supposedly rumored return. This is long overdue. We're going to see if he will fight. You never know with the Diaz bros. They say they want to fight. They always seem to run into a speed bump somewhere. So hopefully we get a fight with the Diaz bros. I've kind of given up on Nick fighting at this point. I have not given up on Nate fighting. So apparently Dana has talked to Nate. He said in recent interviews Nate wants to fight. They're trying to find him a fight. The problem is, what kind of fight do you give this guy? There's really only 2 routes of fights that you can give someone like Nate Diaz. Either you give him some type of super fight, again, like the Masvidal fight, but then you kind of take away, he's obviously in the end of his prime time era where he could, I'm not saying Diaz can fight for a title. Not saying that at all. Is it a possibility? Absolutely. With 1 or 2 big wins, his star value, he might fight for a lightweight title. In my head, that means much, much more than fighting 1 or 2 big fights, because if he goes out there, and I don't think the Masvidal fight was close at all. So if Nate goes out there and gets absolutely starched again, what are you looking at? A Conor rematch? What are you looking at past that? I don't think there's anything you can do. I mean, he'll always have name value and he'll always have big fights. But if he's going to go that route of fighting big names only, super fights, shit at 170 when he's made 155 before, you're getting into the conversation of, okay, Nate, are you done attempting to go for UFC gold? And if you are, and that doesn't mean anything for you, then go get fucking paid. Go get paid. I love that a lot. Go get paid. But if he has any want, need, desire to go for UFC gold again, I think he needs to take a breath and maybe fight a contender, because he can talk himself into a top 5 fight. He can talk himself into a top 10 fight. He could talk himself into a tune-up fight. Nate Diaz can go whichever direction he wants to go. And I hope the UFC supports whatever he wants to do. And I hope Nate Diaz has a strong plan, because I don't want to see him come back once, twice more. I think he's still young. He's had quite a bit of time off in his last few outings between the fights. His fights, he takes damage. They're exciting fights. They're always exciting fights. But it's not like he is back to back to back going to wars like Cowboy Cerrone. He's taken time off. He lives a very, very clean lifestyle. He takes care of his body. There's always going to be the question is if the Diaz bros took too much damage. But I just think that with the time he's taken off between the fights, took a lot of time off between the Conor fight, after the Conor fight, he's been off since the Masvidal fight, which is over a year ago at this point. I think I want to get him back, and I'd like to see him take on a top 10, maybe like lower 9-10 guy at 155. I maybe even see him in a main event on a fight night against maybe a bigger name, but someone who's not ranked, maybe as a tune-up. And then maybe he fights once or twice more. There'd be nothing more exciting than a Conor McGregor-Nate Diaz title fight. If Conor wins the title again next weekend from Dustin Poirier, and then Nate comes back and beats a top 5 guy, beats a top 10 guy, has a couple wins maybe. Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, number 3 for the lightweight title. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The amount of pay-per-views that would sell? The hype? Oh my God, that would be amazing. I mean, oh my God, that would be incredible. The hype to that fight would be surreal. But there's other fun fights for Diaz. Regardless, I'm excited that it sounds like Dana hasn't given up. He's still talking to him, still trying to get him to come back, still trying to work out an opponent, which they're both happy with, which has always been the thing. They're always having issues with working out happiness from both sides. The UFC is never happy when the Diazes are happy, and the Diazes are never happy when the UFC is happy. And partially I get, from the rumors that I've heard, I don't think the Diazes ask for anything that a pay-per-view star would not ask for, and they are pay-per-view stars. So I think that Dana needs to go ahead and suck it up and give him what he's deserved. If you don't come to terms with making amends and finding a happy median with the Diazes, if you're Dana White, obviously the guy's probably almost a billionaire. He doesn't give a shit. But if you don't find a happy median and I was Dana White, I'd be looking back right now thinking, in 5 years, 10 years, I'd be looking back thinking, I wonder what historic fights I could have put the Diaz brothers in. So hopefully he doesn't look back on it. I don't know. I want to see the guys fight. It's probably just me from a fan perspective. I just want to see him fight so bad. I have no idea about the logistics or how hard they are to deal with. I'm a nobody. But I want to see him fight, and hopefully they can work that out. I mean, so many good opponents for him. So many good opponents. Oh, my God. I can't even think about it. People already calling him out. RDA called him out, and he's still fighting at 70. I wonder if he'd come back at 55 or 70. I don't think he has to cut very much weight to make 70. And he's a huge motherfucker. I mean, he could stay bulked up, stay jacked up, and probably still make 70 pretty easy. He's so tall for 55. I think he's 6'2". Maybe 6 foot. I know he's 3 times the size of Conor. He's a big guy. Whatever he wants to fight at, I'll watch it. I'll buy it. But then again, I'll watch 2 guys fight in the back alley of a Walmart. So that's just how I am. I tried to watch the UAE Warriors card this morning for you guys. I was going to watch it or maybe live stream with it. Watch it on here. Those UAE Warriors cards, I've seen some before. They used to be on Fight TV. They're banging fucking cards. They're the ones that are happening in Abu Dhabi right now. So it is 9:37 a.m. Central Time. And we can look it up here. I bet it's probably 8 p.m. in Abu Dhabi right now. I think they're a 15-hour difference. Abu Dhabi. Yeah, it's 7:37 p.m. in Abu Dhabi right now. So they are a 14-hour difference. Those cards are good. I tried to watch this today. I bought official review here of the Fight Network app. Tried it on my Roku. Trash. Tried it on my phone. Trash. You can't even watch it in your web browser. I paid the $3. It's a monthly subscription. I paid the $3. I even tried to find a way to watch it online. There was no way. I tried to buy it. Couldn't buy it. There was no other source to buy. I tried to even look on other, like Fight TV, wasn't having it. It looks like it's only on Fight Network. So, Fight Network, if you hear this, get your fucking shit together. It was 7:38 in the morning here, and I'm trying to watch a fight card. Trying to have a good Friday morning. You know, they've taken the UFC away from us. We have nothing to do. Your boy's on quarantine, and he wants to watch some fighting. So, I guess I'm just going to do this podcast and go to the gym, see if I can get some more weight off. Anyway, Fight Network, get your shit together, man. Trying to watch UAE Warriors, but I guess that's where the Khabib Nurmagomedov and Dana White meeting's going to happen today. So, who knows? One championship. Holy smokes, poor one championship. Bloody Elbow. Shout out Bloody Elbow. They are an MMA media site. They wrote a 2-page paper article. It's 2 parts. Sorry, not 2 pages, but 2 parts. And it's on Bloody Elbow. And you can just look up One Championship Truth, Bloody Elbow, and you'll get both. Both part 1 and part 2. Part 1 came out, I think, the end of December, and part 2 just came out. They address all the concerns of One Championship and the possibility of the blatant lies that they're telling. You know, they said they always had sold-out packed arenas. One interesting claim I read in there. So they interviewed, I think it was 4 people who were ex-1FC employees. And you got to be wary about that too, right? Because if you're an ex-employee, there's a reason you're an ex-employee. And I'm not saying this is a reason to not take what they're saying as the truth, but I'm saying it's also a reason to maybe take it with a mild grain of salt. Basically, they went over all these huge accusations or statements on One about how it's the biggest organization in Asia. They always have sold-out stands. Their weight cutting has been fixed. They don't have doping. So they went and debunked a lot of that, and it's a super interesting article. I don't want to bash one championship on here, especially when I'm not informed. I'll just point out a couple of the things that I thought were interesting. And again, I'm not saying if they're true or not true. They said that the employees were each given up to like 50 tickets to just give away, and it was to make these events look like they're sold out, which is not a bad marketing strategy. If I owned an event and had the money, you might give out a bunch of tickets to make it seem like it's the most popular thing in Asia, and then other people catch on and want to buy the tickets. I mean, if you're not going to sell them, you might as well give them away and try to do something with that. But so a lot of times when you'd see their arenas, they'd be packed. Well, it turns out that might be because they were just giving away all their fucking tickets. I guess they had a gag order. So if you're a 1FC fighter, you weren't allowed to tweet badly about 1FC. You weren't about to post badly about 1FC. And if you said something bad about 1FC, they could just take you in your contract. Because when you're in a contract with them, another thing they address too is that you aren't allowed to do anything else. Bellator is really good about allowing guys to take other opportunities to make money. And in one, I guess it's similar to the UFC where they've locked guys up in contracts. And if they don't like you, if they have something against you, you're not fucking fighting. You're on the bench. And now you have years, months, days, weeks of your career where you're just on the bench in your prime where you're not fighting. And I guess this has happened to a lot of guys. One of the guys who spoke out, who I guess we can name here, was Herbert Burns, who is Gilbert Burns' brother. Hopefully it's not his cousin. I think it's his brother. We'll fact check that while I'm talking to you guys. Was Herbert Burns, who is a badass now in the UFC, but he said he trained at Evolve MMA, which is a gym in Singapore that's closely related with One Championship. Well, I guess he said something or did something that they disliked him, and he was stuck in that gym for 2 years training for a title fight that he never got. And you guys know that 2 years in this game, especially at the highest level, is a lot of time to take off. It's a lot of time to take off. Excuse me. It's just kind of sad how sketchy the fight game is. Herbert Burns is 32 years old, and he is Gilbert Burns' brother. So, no bad comments on me today. I got it right. Let's see. Left One Championship August 5th, 2017. Yeah, wow. So it looks like he had a win in One Championship in 2015. And so September 27th, 2015, he was 6-0. This is Herbert Burns. He didn't get to fight again until February 10th, 2017, in which he took 2 losses. I mean, when you take 2 years off, and One Championship has some absolute killers over there. So when you're taking 2 years off and then you get back and have 2 losses, I mean, they've just set you up for failure. They've just set you up for fucking failure in the prime of your career. So then he bounces back, 2 Titan FC wins. Looks like he got on to UFC through the Contender Series. He's an exciting fighter, a great fighter. Obviously, his brother's about to fight Usman for the title. It's interesting. So you want to, especially watching Rogan, it seems like Rogan was really dick riding One FC, especially about their weight cutting. And now I wonder if their weight cutting is even fixed. I wonder if they're actually doing hydration tests. You never know. It sounds like they're not doing doping tests according to these articles. So everyone there is just juiced. Who knows? I mean, again, I guess what I was going to say is that Rogan, when he gets on his podcast and he's talking to 2 million people, 2 million people plus in a podcast about MMA, and he says shit like one championship is dialed in over there. One championship is the fucking GOATs. And turns out half the shit they're doing might be a fucking lie, you know? So it's kind of sad. It's interesting. The fight game has always been sketchy. It's not a lot of transparency, especially with these big organizations, UFC and ONE. They can't have a lot of transparency. There's a lot of behind the books money. A lot of people on the books are making 10 and 10, 10,000 and 10,000. UFC entry-level fighters are 20,000 and 20,000. But they go out there and they give it their all, even if they don't win a performance of the night bonus or a fight of the night bonus. They go out there and they give it their all. I mean, they might get a $50,000, $10,000, $20,000 under the table handout from the promotion, and it's all to avoid taxes, I assume. It's also to avoid having to pay other fighters quality pay. So, interesting stuff. So you can read that One Championship article. I think you just Google One Championship truth or One Championship debunked. It's on Bloody Elbow. So shout out Bloody Elbow, great site. I'm a frequent user of their website, and you can watch that there. Not watch, I apologize. Read. It's a 2-part series that you can read about. A good read. John Jones is looking jacked. He posted on Instagram. It's a picture of his back and his shoulders and his traps. It looks absolutely phenomenal. And you know, his brothers are both NFL players. And so you think that now that he doesn't have to maintain maybe a slimmer figure, I bet his brothers know just the right techniques, the right training, and I bet they have access to some serious high-level caliber fucking strength and training people that nobody else in the UFC has access to, the type of people that John Jones' brothers have access to. I mean, the money in NFL compared to the money in strength training and conditioning in MMA is greater than tenfold. It's probably 100-fold. So I can't wait. I can guarantee you John Jones is using his brother's strength training programs, or he's working out with his brothers who are able to give him shit that us basic folk are never going to see. And then who knows, he might be going out to NFL strength and training coaches and training with his brothers, with these coaches. I don't know that for sure, but I can almost guarantee you if I was in his position, I probably would. Regardless, he's looking jacked. Just jacked. I think he said he was 250 pounds. Who knows if that's real or not? I don't assume he has any reason to lie. He just looks so good. I'm so excited for him to go to heavyweight. I just wish they would move on with the goddamn division. Just have him and Francis fight for an interim title. I hate interim titles, but let's move on. If Stipe doesn't want to fight, either strip him or make an interim fight. I don't see you having any other options. I get it. John Jones is probably happy with the time off. He's bulking up. He might not even want to fight yet. Maybe he is saying, hey, give me a little more time. But at least get Francis in there. Let's get some heavyweight fights. So that way when John Jones bursts onto the scene, he has some serious fucking super fights, man. I mean, we've really dropped. I get it. It's a fucking pandemic, and I don't know anything. I'm in my basement studio talking shit. But there has got to be a way to get Francis Ngannou rolling. I mean, I sound like a broken record, but he said, I will get an interim title or I'll get a vacant belt, and I'll defend it multiple times before Stipe even comes back. And I get it. You run the risk of him losing, and now you've given an interim title to someone who won't defend it, or to someone who can't put on a win streak. And I love Stipe. He's a goddamn firefighter, for fuck's sake. I am a Stipe Miocic dick rider. You know, but I just think that you can't take more than a year off between fights. That is, if you want to, cool, but now you're going to be a legendary heavyweight and you're just going to fight every so often. Or if you want to come back and reclaim the title, I get it. He's got kids. He's got another job. He's a paramedic firefighter, and he is still working while he's the heavyweight champ of the world. And personally, I think he's the best heavyweight of all time. I get it. I feel for him, and I don't want them to strip him of the title. But I want to see Ngannou fight, and I want to see him fight more than a few more times. I would have liked to see him fight 2 or 3 more. The way he's starching guys, and I get it, he throws sloppy punches sometimes. More than half the time. When he knocks people out, it's a sloppy punch, but he's fast. I mean, this guy is from another fucking planet. If you look at Ngannou, he's not from this planet. That dude is made of something that only few people are made of. He's got those Yoel genes, and he's not young, and he's not getting any younger. I think Ngannou is about 36 years old, 37 maybe. I'm going to look that up too, because I don't want to be wrong, but I know he's not young, and I understand that heavyweights mature later, and I understand that I get it, but at the same time, you can't take this guy any of his prime away from him. I understand he's still learning, and he may not be all we think. He may fight a wrestler that knows what's going on, and it may not go his way. You saw how Stipe beat him. Stipe beat him in introducing a clinch-style fight. But the thing is, he lasted 5 rounds. He's 34, so I apologize. I was 2 years off. But he's 34. That's not young. This is his prime right now. His prime may be a little bit longer since he hasn't taken much damage. He's newer to the fight game. He only has so many fights. But the way he's finishing guys, and his 2 losses, one is to Stipe in a 5-round fight. I'm not saying it was a war, and I'm not saying it was close. I had Stipe winning almost every single round. And Stipe showed some serious holes to Ngannou's game in that fight. But then Ngannou, what did he do? He goes back and gets 4 TKO or KO wins. I mean, this guy's incredible, and we can't put him on the shelf. This guy could be the Mike Tyson. This guy could be the heavyweight, just an icon for heavyweights. You know, they used to talk about, if I talk to anyone that's older and in the fight game, anyone that has a vast more years of experience of watching boxing and now they're being introduced into UFC or MMA, the first thing they always say is, oh, it's not going to be as good as old school heavyweight boxing. It could be. If you guys would watch this motherfucker Francis Ngannou fight, it could be that exciting. That guy is that fucking exciting. I mean, the dude is a absolute killer. And hasn't taken much damage. It's not like he's getting into slugfest. It's almost, and again, I'm too young to speak about this, but I'll try. The way that when I talk to older fight fans about Mike Tyson, where they would buy the pay-per-view, and they would be pissed because it would be over so quick, that's like watching Ngannou. It's over like that. You're not getting a war. When this guy has lost twice, and once was complete bullshit, and I was there for that fight, UFC 226 Las Vegas when he fought Derek Lewis. That fight was bullshit. That loss does not count. Neither of those guys threw a punch. Then Ngannou comes back and knocks out 4 people in a row. This guy is on another level. He's an absolute specimen. He's got those Yoel genes. I'm telling you right now, and the fact that we're robbing and if he didn't want to fight, if he wanted to wait for a title, that would be a whole nother fucking conversation. But he doesn't. He wants to fucking fight. We need to make some fights. I don't care what you have to do. Get this guy some fucking fights so we can put MMA on the map as the best heavyweight sport of all time. Because I'm telling you, this guy compares to the stories I hear about the heavyweight division in boxing when I was a child or even before I was fucking born. This is the guy to do that. And now you have the greatest fighter of all time, John Jones, coming up from light heavyweight to heavyweight, doing it the right way, training, putting on weight, looking like an absolute nightmare. I don't care what you say, John Jones is undefeated. Fuck off, Matt Hamill. Fuck off. He's undefeated. Okay? This is the GOAT. I don't give a shit what your argument is. I don't give a shit about Khabib Nurmagomedov. I do. But I don't give a shit about him or Demetrius Johnson when it comes to the greatest of all time conversation. Jon Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. There is no argument. And if you have one, fuck off. Because there is no argument. Jon Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. And if we build Francis Ngannou up while Jon Jones is bulking up, you are going to have maybe a fight that will beat any Conor McGregor pay-per-view of all time. Size matters. Ask any woman. Size matters. I'm just being funny. But people will always gravitate towards the heavier fighters. Every time. Every time, people will gravitate towards the heavier fighters. I am telling you, if you build Francis up and Jon Jones comes in and gets that title, or vice versa, Ngannou gets the title, you will have a fight bigger than any Conor McGregor fight ever. And to say that is an absolute insane statement. And I understand that. But I'm telling you, people love huge motherfuckers. They love heavyweights. And when these guys fight, people tune in. When Ngannou fought Kane, there was people that I've never even spoke to. But of course, I'm a nerd. I'm an MMA nerd. And they knew that I was into MMA. These are people I've never spoke to. They would come up to me at my job and they'd be like, hey, you watching that Ngannou fight this weekend? And I'm like, aren't you into soccer? Yeah, but it's heavyweights, man. There'd be some girl that comes up to me. Doesn't know anything about sports. Yeah, I think there's a big fight this weekend. Francis Ngannou, Cain Velasquez. When you get a little bit of name value and you get two giant motherfuckers, dropping my coffee straw all over myself, I'm getting excited. People are going to tune in. And Ngannou is on a 4-fight incredible win streak right now. And the fight game is short. It's short-minded. People forget fucking quick. They forget so quick. And if you allow them to forget his recent streak, they're going to forget quick. And then you're going to have to build him back up, which is going to take more time when he's 34. Young, but still old. Young and old. And now you got Jon Jones, who's about the same age. I think Jones is 34, 35. We need to see this fight. We need to see so many fights before it. We need to see so many fights after it. Let's get it going. Oh my God. This shit was supposed to happen March 6th, which we're going to talk about now. I'm not mad. It might be March 13th. I'll look that up. This was supposed to happen for the pay-per-view in March. I'm not mad at the pay-per-view in March. We're about to talk about it. It's stacked. It's amazing. It makes me cry how good the pay-per-view in March is. But let's stop fucking waiting and let's make a Francis title fight, or let's make a Francis fight ASAP. It almost has to be a title. It's very rare you get a guy who goes 4 TKOs in a row in heavyweight without getting touched. It's very rare. He's not taking any damage in his fights. We have to get him back out there. He hasn't taken any damage. There's no reason when he's asking for a quick turnaround. And granted, I understand guys say shit and then they say, oh, like Diaz, he wants to fight, but he probably wants about $10 million more than the UFC wants to pay him. So I'm not saying that this is all one-sided. But let's meet with this guy and let's meet with them if I'm the UFC and let's figure something out so we can get this guy back in there. I just can't help. I feel like we're being robbed. I feel like we've been robbed of a little over a year of time. I'm going to give it to you right now. Let me look it up. Wikipedia. Last fight, Francis Ngannou. Jairzinho Rosenstruck, UFC 259, May of 2020. So that was that card that happened right in Tampa, right when the pandemic hit. So it's January. I mean, it's coming up on a year. It's coming up on a year that this guy's been well overdue for a huge fight, a vacant title fight. I understand the title's not vacant. Stipe gives it up, or an interim. I don't like interims, but I like it right here. I like it right here. I like me some boxing nonsense right here. WBC, WABC, WCBC, NBC, CCC, whatever. Give it to him. Give him a fucking belt. Have him defend it. Let's build this shit up. Let's go. John Jones is jacked. Can't fucking wait. Cannot fucking wait. He's fucking jacked. March 13th is stacked. March 13th. Might be March 6th. I'm going to check right here. I need to get somebody who's going to check all this shit for me. It's coming. It's 3 title fights on this card. 3 title fights. Looks like UFC 259. It is March 6, 2021 is the date right now. No venue. Probably going to be in Abu Dhabi where they can do fans. Israel Adesanya coming up from 185 to 205. He's going to fight Jan Blachowicz for the 205-pound belt. Adesanya's going to get that easy money. Calling it right here. We all know that. Although I hate sleeping on Jan. Every time I do, fucker comes up with the win. Every time he comes up with the win. When you get into those fights where you're coming after Jan, he hits really fucking hard. I went back and watched some of his fights, and my God, that guy hits hard, and he's a great counter striker. He does the basics really well, and he's super cognizant of knowing when he might be out of a fight. Not necessarily out, but out not winning at that time. And he will implement a new strategy. He will change gears. He'll initiate clinches. He doesn't give a fuck about fans. And I'm all for that. I don't care if you lay and pray. I like seeing mathematical equations trying to be solved. And that's what Jan does. He'll take it, he'll read it, and he'll adjust. And he will engage the clinch if he thinks he's in danger. And he's going to be much bigger than Adesanya. I think Adesanya might come in at maybe 210. And I think he's just going to stop drinking water the night before weigh-in and go back to drinking water. I don't think this guy has to even cut weight to make 205. He's tall, he's huge, but he's skinny. I still have Izzy in that fight. Megan Anderson, Amanda Nunes is the second title fight on that card. Whew. I like Megan Anderson. I think she looks the part. I think she's badass. She talks the part. She's from Aussie. I love Megan. She's a bad mofo. She's not beating Amanda Nunes. Probably not. But you never know. Amanda Nunes had a kid. You never know when people are going to stop taking this as serious as they need to. And the way Megan Anderson had that recent just one punch, it was a straight shot, if I remember correctly, KO. Any girl who has KO power, you got to be real scared of. I'm very nervous for Megan's wrestling. But, she works at a camp that is... I'm not saying that Glory MMA, and I don't know if she goes down to is it Elevation? Whatever the camp is in Denver. I'm sorry, I should know this. It's super early. I haven't slept much. But whatever the camp is that Krause and all those guys go down to, I love that camp too. Alexander Hernandez is down there, or Alex Hernandez. They're smart, and they're going to work the right positions. They're going to probably look at some tape and see where she shoots at. So I understand that maybe she can't get her wrestling up to the caliber that Amanda Nunes is. She probably can't get her jiu-jitsu up. But that camp is going to find little things that they need to see and be ready for to avoid those. And they're going to give it their all. I think Megan Anderson is a bad mofo, and I'm super excited for that fight. I've always been a Megan fan. Always been a Megan fan. We waited a long time for her to get to the UFC. She was outclassed initially. We saw that she had some serious downfalls, but then she starches somebody with a one-punch knockout. And then she looks the part, her tattoos, her length. She's great. I love me some Megan Anderson, and I'm more excited for that fight than I think I should be. If I had a gun to the head, do I think it's going to be as competitive as the rest of people think? Do I? No, I think it'll probably be pretty one-sided. But there's a chance. There's a chance that Amanda doesn't come in there with her head on her shoulders because she underestimates Megan. There's a chance we get a war. Another thing, too, is that length. Now that we've seen Megan has real power, Amanda is going to have some trouble closing the distance. And I don't know. I'm excited for the fight. When it gets closer, we'll make a better prediction. I need to go back and watch some more Megan film, maybe an Invicta too. And I need to go back and watch some more Amanda film. I feel like Amanda throws, she's just so tough, and I feel like she throws a lot of shots that are so powerful that her offense is her best defense. And if Megan can get to the jab, get to the movement, maybe stagger her just a couple times in the early rounds, she's going to get taken down if Amanda wants to take her down. But can she work those long legs from the back? Can she get up off the cage? Can she use her legs to isolate and deny entry to further damage and stagger her in the later rounds? I think Amanda's cardio is fine. We're going to see what strategy she comes in with. Mark Montoya's camp. I'm so sorry. I should have known that. Mark Montoya's camp is the camp that they train in Denver. Factory X. He's a genius, man. That guy's incredible. James Krause is a super smart guy. All of Glory. I'm not saying they have the highest caliber MMA fighters, but they're a newer gym. They're not really a hot spot for MMA to be trained. They're in Lee Summit, Missouri, which is around the Kansas City metro. But with what they have, those guys, even watching them on the regional circuit here, they're coached so well. Those guys are great, and I think that they'll come up with the strategy, and they'll give us a good fight on March 6th between Megan Anderson. Third title fight on there, it's Piotr Peter Petre Jan. So many pronunciations for his name. I believe that it's actually Piotr. Most people just call him Peter. I believe on the last UFC broadcast, his name was Peter. He's fighting Aljamain Sterling. Long overdue. I think Aljamain's size could give him some fucking... It could give Peter some trouble. So I'm super excited for that fight. I do kind of think the Aljamain Sterling Corey Sandhagen fight was a little bit of a fluke, but I'm also a huge Corey Sandhagen fan. But I can't wait to see that fight. Aljamain's style is so fun to watch. These are the other fights we have on there. This card's stacked. So this is all in that March 6th card. We have those 3 title fights. Jan Blachowicz, Israel Adesanya. Amanda Nunes, Megan Anderson. Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling. You have an Alexander Rakic versus Thiago Santos fight. War. We have... What other good fights do we have on here? Randy Costa, Trevin Jones. We have a flyweight fight. This one surprised the heck out of me. Joseph Benavidez is back, and he's fighting maybe the next flyweight title contender, Askar Askarov. Dominic Cruz is back, baby, and he is taking on a dangerous guy with not a lot of name value. It's Dominic Cruz versus Casey Kenny. Jake Matthews is an Aussie. He's back versus Sean Brady. That's going to be a great fight. Islam Makhachev, Drew Dober. Ooh, Tim Elliott, Jordan Espinoza. Tim Elliott is going to be training with Megan, so they'll both be on that card. Wow. Kai Kara France, Rogerio Bontorin. That can be a fucking banging fight. There's a lot of Aussies on this card, actually. Megan Anderson, Jake Matthews, Kai Kara France. Interesting. I wonder if they might do something in Australia, because I know they're opening up stands and fans there now. A couple other announced fights. These are the 2 I'm most excited for. Ryan Hall is back. Ryan Hall is going to fight Dan Ige. Oh my God, nobody wants to fight Ryan Hall. Nobody wants to fight him. And Dan Ige is going to do it, and Dan Ige is a savage. I cannot wait for that fight. For people who don't know, Ryan Hall is he's a jiu-jitsu master. This guy's incredible. When he fought Darren Elkins, it was like he was a karate, taekwondo, stand-up master, because they're so scared of his ground game. They're so scared of getting their legs rolled for that they always want to be level changing, looking for his shots, looking for his barambolos, looking for his Granby roll, whatever. They're always looking for his rolls, looking for his sneaky back takes, all kinds of stuff. They don't want to engage grappling with him at all. So he was able to land like multiple spinning head kicks, multiple spinning heel kicks. He's great, and I can't wait. I mean, this is a guy, I'd like to see him versus Bryce Mitchell. Be a fucking banger of a fight. The other one that's going to be amazing, Cyril Gane back against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Heavyweight banger. Again, get the heavyweight division rolling. Get it rolling. And there we are. Cyril Gane versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Get that shit rolling, man. Get that shit rolling. That is going to be I'm sure some of those fights will fall out. Hopefully they're not any of those big ones. Knock on wood. That's going to be a hell of a fucking card. Last thing, too, I think is weird. Santiago Ponzinibbio changed his nickname. I guess he used to have a nickname. I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but it was a Brazilian term for nice guy. Ponzinibbio is now calling himself the Argentinian Dagger. So there's that. Normally, I'd be like, fuck off with that. But the way this guy fights and how he finishes fights, I'm not going anywhere near someone whose nickname is the Argentinian Dagger. Okay? Fuck that. So, that fight's tomorrow. Oh my God, Li Jingliang. Santiago Ponzinibbio. Holy shit. Well, guys, that's really all I have for you. I am so goddamn excited for this card tomorrow. And then we get a card Saturday. Then we get a card Wednesday. And then we end the week Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier that following Saturday. So hopefully we get UFC'd out for a little while to make up for this 27-day layoff that we've had. I'll try to do a recap tomorrow if something crazy happens, or if it doesn't, maybe I'll just come and talk some more. A lot of these solo Nitro shows, I've always wanted to do a solo show, but really I've been testing new lights, testing my computer, testing my microphone. So I appreciate everyone who's listened. A lot of that I'm just testing stuff out. If you guys have any inquiries, anything you want to hear me talk about, you want to hear on the Heavy Hands podcast, guests are still coming. They got delayed. Obviously, the Shark tested positive COVID-19. Hopefully, he recovers quick. And hopefully, we can get guests in here ASAP. Hopefully, we can get our new video stuff set up so we can stop looking like we're pixelated on here. Hopefully, we can get better lighting and everything going. And it's all a work in progress, but we appreciate anyone who gives us a listen, a like, a subscribe. Please go to YouTube, give us the thumbs up. Please subscribe. Write a comment if you can. Constructive criticism is great. If you can share us too, that'd be amazing. Even if your friends just listen for a couple minutes, that means a lot to us. If you can go on Facebook and like our page there, Heavy Hands Podcast. Twitter, it's Heavy Hands Kansas City, Heavy Hands KC. Instagram, Heavy Hands Podcast. We're still working on Spotify. We might just go ahead and rip the audio and start putting that on Spotify because for some reason a lot of people have asked us about Apple and Spotify. I'm working with a guy now. I've been emailing back and forth. He's trying to help me figure out how we can host the video podcast on another website and then get approved to have it on Spotify. It doesn't sound like it's going to be initially doable to get the video and audio on Spotify. We're trying to figure it out. I'm not a tech nerd myself. I know a little bit here and there. So we'll get it all figured out, but we appreciate you guys. I hope you have a happy Friday. Again, it's only 10:15 in the morning. So hopefully you guys listen to this podcast, go hit a workout, go hit a run. If you guys are at work, drive safe. If you're in the Kansas City Metro, it is pretty slick out right now. Snowed this morning, still snowing. I don't think it's going to stop until tonight. But have a wonderful weekend. Be safe, stay COVID-free. And for me here of 1/3 of the trio, we hope you guys have a wonderful week. Fights are back. So let's fucking go, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.